Hey y'all, my name's Jen. I'm a health and life coach on a mission to empower women, and this season I call the messy middle. We believe it's never too late to dream your wildest dreams and to build lives freed from the shoulds and have-tos. Here, we talk to ourselves like we do our girlfriends and our sisters and daughters. I will share stories and resources with lots of encouragement and a little bit of tough love to drive you toward action. In this podcast, we talk about everything: career, relationships, motherhood, and health. So grab your sneakers and let's go, because she's wild and freed. Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of She's Wild and Freed. I'm your host, Jen, and I am so excited you are here for this episode. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to thank everyone who is listening and commented. Thank you for subscribing and following the podcast. We just passed 100 downloads, and I am so excited about the future and where we can take this thing. Next up, 1,000 downloads. Who's with me? If you're new to our community, welcome. We are dreaming wild dreams and moving toward a life freed from those pesky shoulds. I should be doing that. I should be farther along. I should be this pant size or number on a scale. This is a judgment-free zone, and be ready for some tips, resources, and stories to inspire you toward your dream life. Ready? Let's go. As a health coach, I love to learn and explore so many things related to fitness, nutrition, and mental well-being. In my practice, we focus not on what someone should be eating or what they should weigh, nor do I push any type of special diet or exercise. We focus on the individual and their wants and desires, and we spend a lot of time slowing down and noticing our behaviors, our habits, and getting quiet so we can really dig into what truly matters to my client. It's a beautiful process and something I am so proud to be a part of. With that being said, before we dig into today's episode, I want to give a disclaimer. I am a coach. I am not a doctor, nutritionist, or dietitian. The things I share today are what has worked for me, and I'm sharing my story in hopes that you may hear something that sounds interesting for you to try, or it may spark in you a different thing that has been intriguing you. I discovered these things through being a practitioner of my own work. You are the single authority on your body. You know what feels good and what doesn't. Listen to your gut. And if you have any medical conditions, you're taking medications, or any other situations that could be in conflict with the concepts that I share today, please consult a professional before changing your diet or activity levels. Okay, just had to get that out before we started. Today, we're going to talk about 5 ways you can upgrade your health and lifestyle. We will review 2 things I've added to my lifestyle and habits, and 3 things I've removed or reduced. I'm going to go with the sandwich method here, where we talk about adding 1 thing, taking 3 away, and then adding in another thing. I like the sandwich approach. I learned it through some leadership training I received within my career. Start with a positive, sandwich in negatives or constructive things, and in this case, what I've removed or reduced from my life and diet, and then end on a positive or something added in. The first thing I've done to upgrade my health is add more fruits and vegetables to my eating plan. I know. It's revolutionary. But ladies, take a moment to assess what you ate yesterday or today. How many actual fruits and veggie servings did you have? Really? Prior to making this change, my meals contained quite a bit of tan foods. Bread or toast, oatmeal, rice, potatoes, pasta. I eat protein with my meals, but sometimes I may not have any fruit. Or I added like 5 blueberries to my oatmeal. I mean, it was better than nothing, but I was not getting enough whole foods and nutrients. I also snacked a lot. I mean, I used to joke with my coworker that I would have my second breakfast around 10 every morning. Like a hobbit. Then lunch around 11:30 or 12, then a snack around 2, then another snack when I got home from work, then dinner. These snacks were crackers, chips and salsa, mostly quick carb hits. So I've had to really focus on how to add fruits and vegetables to my eating plan. This sounds too simple though. Just add fruits and veggies to your meals. But it took some trial and error, just getting curious about my diet and getting creative. I don't know about y'all, but for some reason, grabbing an apple or some baby carrots just seemed so much harder than a bag of chips. One thing I've done to help with this goal is add veggies to my breakfast. Anyone eat at First Watch? It's a breakfast place in the South, and I think it started in Sarasota, Florida, or somewhere down there. And it's made its way up to North Carolina. They offer fresh greens with vinaigrette dressing with their omelets. What? Salad with breakfast? I had to shift the paradigm that breakfast is sweet foods or carbs, like cereal, a muffin, toast and jam, and move toward savory. Green beans, salad, leftover stir-fry vegetables can all be added to your first meal of the day. Leftovers are sometimes my favorite breakfast. We had chicken sausages for dinner the other night, and I asked my husband to grill an extra one so I could have it with my breakfast the next day. Easy and packed with protein. Okay, I know that's not a fruit or a vegetable, but I was thinking about it, so I wanted to mention it. For lunch, I make smoothies a lot of days. Blueberries and strawberries and a whole lot of other stuff, including spinach. I'll share that smoothie recipe with you on a future episode for you to try at home. But every day, I pack in the berries with this meal. So the number one way I upgraded my health was adding fruits and vegetables to whatever meals I could. The second way I upgraded my health and lifestyle was cutting out dairy. Yep, I am lactose intolerant and have kind of known for a long time. I mean, for decades, but refused to admit it. So I suffered from stomach pains, diarrhea, gas, and bloating for a long time. Until about 7 years ago, I decided I would try no dairy for 5 days. I don't recall if I read that somewhere or I just decided that I could do it for that length of time to see what happened. And let me say, it was really, really hard. I typically drink lattes with milk, had yogurt almost every day, loved grilled cheese and mac and cheese or cheese and crackers. And I loved ice cream, which was actually my first indicator many, many years ago that I may have some issues with dairy. Ice cream always tore my stomach up, and I didn't care because I loved it so much. But I had been having so much gas and bloating and was just tired of it and thought, well, it's worth a shot. Honestly, I was shocked at how quickly I started feeling better. I wouldn't have that afternoon bloat. My regular stomach pains were gone within 2 days. I felt lighter and had more energy because I wasn't constantly trying to hold in my bloated belly. It was amazing. This was a game changer for me. I didn't realize how much I dealt with pain that I didn't actually have to deal with. I didn't realize that I could live without stomach pains and bloating. Really, I just thought that was me. I get bloated every day. Sometimes the stomach pains were mild, but sometimes they were severe and almost always present. There would be times that I would eat a meal with more fresh foods, less dairy-filled meals, and I would feel good. I would even notice how much I liked the feeling. But then I'd go back to my quote-unquote normal eating and the bloating, discomfort, and heaviness. So if you're curious and thinking, I have that feeling almost every day and think it could be dairy, try it. Try 5 days without dairy. If it doesn't make a difference, it was only 5 days. The third way to upgrade your health is cutting down or cutting out gluten. I know. I'm talking about removing yogurt and cheese from your diet and now bread. Believe me, I would not suggest this or even bring it up if it's not worked for me. Many of us are walking around with food intolerances or allergies, and we don't even know it. Many of us are inflamed inside our bodies, and that is causing digestive issues, skin problems, and sleep disruptions. So I decided I would give up gluten as part of a nutrition challenge we had at work. Oh, how I love a good challenge. A walking challenge, nutrition challenge, drink more water challenge. It's motivating, and you have your friends and coworkers doing it with you. And it's fun. I also struggled with this, with removing gluten from my eating plan. I was thinking exactly what you're thinking right now. What the heck can I eat? No sandwiches, no pizza, no pasta, no crackers. Okay, there are some really good gluten-free breads, pasta, and pizza dough, so you can certainly explore any of those. But I just went all in, and I felt like I was eating like a rabbit. But luckily, during this challenge, we had guides and recipes and lots of resources for us during it. And I would encourage anyone who's thinking about doing any of these changes in your eating to arm yourself with lots of ideas for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. So when you try it, you're setting yourself up for inevitable success. And just like I said about removing dairy, just try it. Get curious. See if you feel any better with reducing or removing gluten from your eating plan. I totally do. And I was a little shocked about this. Many of us came up in the 80s and 90s and they talked about low-fat diets. That was the big thing. And then also eating whole wheat. As long as you ate whole wheat bread, it was fine. It was better than white, right? But I can't believe how great I feel. Especially, I notice it when I decide to eat spaghetti and meatballs or bread that's served at a restaurant. I totally feel heavy and sluggish after eating those things. I mean, it tastes amazing, so we have to weigh out the pros and cons of it. Tastes great now, feel bad later. But all in all, I eat very little gluten. When we eat tacos as a family, I just don't have tortillas. I either substitute with brown rice or quinoa or make a taco salad. When we have pasta, I either do spaghetti squash or gluten-free pasta. Sometimes I just eat the meatballs and have a big salad on the side. If we have pizza, I do skip it all together because, to be honest, if I need to substitute the cheese and the dough, it's just not worth it to me. You do you, though. I also want to suggest that if you choose to make any of these changes, but especially with dairy or gluten, be sure to plan out your week. Tell your friends and family that you're trying it. Ensure that you have researched and shopped so that the foods you don't want to eat are not in your pantry or the refrigerator. It just helps when you remove anything from your life to get organized and set yourself up for success. Also, we are in the holiday season, and this type of eating definitely limits your choices at the family holiday meals. This is a commitment to yourself and no one else. If you discover you feel way better without one or both of these things, again, ask your family to be supportive and volunteer to bring something to the family meal. Or if you're cooking, even better. In the show notes and on social media, I will share a couple of holiday recipes that I really like. The fourth way you can upgrade your health and life is reducing processed foods. Okay, I know, I'm getting really crazy now. So much of what we eat in the standard American diet, SAD or SAD, is processed or even ultra processed. Anything that comes in a box or bag, bread, cereal, protein bars, canned foods, it's all processed. So when you think about this fourth thing, think about how your grandma ate. Well, minus the lard if your grandma grew up in the South like mine did. Eating whole, actual foods. Food that came out of the ground or from a tree or from the farm is really the best. If you're going to eat processed foods, look at the ingredient list and see if you can at least pronounce everything or you know what all the ingredients are. It's amazing how many ingredients are in some things. The fourth thing we're talking about now is a process, so be gentle with yourself as you discover what foods will work for you as you reduce your processed food intake. The other way to look at this concept is shifting your meal plans to a mostly whole food diet. If shifting to a whole food plan sounds like one you want to try, start small. I like to do one thing at a time to ensure I can commit to it. So start with dinner. Plan your dinner meals so that you have a protein, a vegetable, and a grain or potato or sweet potato. Or a protein and lots of veggies like a big salad. Also, with any eating plan that you're starting, think about what you like. What are the things that you would enjoy eating instead of thinking about all the things you can't eat? For me, if you remember what I talked about last week, of how boring my eating can be, I do love sweet potatoes. I like to roast them. I like to bake them, boil them, and mash them. Sweet potatoes can actually almost be a treat for me. I know. It sounds crazy, but that's me, and that's my truth. And this comes back to our 3 C's we've been exploring together. Also, just a reminder, the 3 C's handout is something you can pick up anytime. If you haven't listened to the episodes or you want to go back and reference them and walk through the handout, as you work on whatever goal or dream you want, grab the handout in the show notes. Get curious about what foods you like and why you like them. Get curious about how you feel after eating certain things. Then shift to consistently adding a veggie to your breakfast or having a whole food meal. Consistently skipping dessert or leave the cheese off your burger or tacos. Do it every day. Putting in the reps will bring you closer to what you really want. And the fifth way to upgrade your health and life is walking. I have to say, I'm a convert. Some of you who know me know that I have been a runner for most of my life. I love running. I started in high school on the cross country team, and I just kept running like Forrest Gump into my 40s. But I started going on walks during my breaks and lunch when we were quarantined during COVID. Then we got a dog, and I've been walking her every day after work. I realized how much I love walking. Before, when I was a runner, I would just say, I don't enjoy walking. I would walk to warm up and cool down after the run, but that was it. I also enjoyed hiking, but that's because it gave me more of a challenge. But plain old walking was, well, boring. And it took longer to go a certain distance. And I didn't get my heart rate up where I wanted it to be. Now walking is something I added to my routine most days. It's a stress reliever. It's my mental break. And it helps me get off my butt when I've been working at my desk all day and stretching my legs and my back. I also get to listen to my favorite podcast while I'm walking, which is actually how I imagine you all listening to this podcast, going out for a walk with your AirPods or earbuds in. But you all tell me, how are you listening in to She's Wild and Freed? Are you in the car, in bed, running errands, or hanging out on the couch? Are you grabbing your sneakers like the intro suggests and getting outside? So let's review 5 ways you can upgrade your health and life. 1, add fruits and veggies to your meal plans. 2, reduce or remove dairy. 3, reduce or remove gluten. 4, reduce processed foods. And 5, add walking to your routine. There are a lot of great ways to upgrade your health, and we will discuss other topics on health and wellness on this podcast. But for those of us who are curious about things we can add or remove from our routines, these 5 are great places to start. As I always suggest, try one thing. One of the biggest mistakes we make, especially around the new year when we make New Year's resolution, we want to do all the things and we are pumped. We think this year will be different. We know we can do it. This is our year. And then about the 3rd week in January, we aren't doing those things anymore. So why not start now? If you're listening to this podcast in real time, we are in the 2nd week of November. This month is big because Thanksgiving is coming, and we all know it's a big meal. I love Thanksgiving. I love the gathering, the games, the TV watching, and the food. So if you're really looking forward to that meal and you're thinking, don't even think about telling me I can't have dressing or stuffing, depending on what you call it, or gravy or mashed potatoes, etc., etc. Start with walking. Commit to getting outside or getting on the treadmill if you have one, or go to the gym. Do it every day. It could be a few 10-minute walks. if you're taking breaks during the day, or it could be 30 minutes or more at a time. I highly suggest walking outdoors, but I know some of us are not super excited about the cooler temps, so get on that treadmill and walk it out. Of course, you can add fruits and veggies as well, and be the one who volunteers to bring a fruit and veggie tray to the holiday dinners. Or add greens to every meal. And yes, I do mean every meal, even breakfast. Throw some apples and walnuts in there, or cut up carrots and onions for your salad. And use any salad dressing of your choice. You can totally do that, and you might learn to love it. This episode was so fun. I get pumped about sharing health and wellness tips and information. It's my passion, and I would love to hear if you like this style of episode with the high-level tips, or if you want me to dig into one of these areas in a future one. I want to grow this podcast and this community, and I'm working on a monthly newsletter, and I would love to have you join the email community. If you're interested, you can reach out to me on Instagram or Facebook, just DM me, or email me at Freed Coaching Co. That's FREED Coaching CO @gmail.com. So you can get access to that newsletter when it comes out. You can also click the link in the show notes to get added. The email community will get access to more free content and offers prior to them being shared on the podcast. So join now. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you here next week for a special Thanksgiving episode. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I hope you feel free to take action toward building the life of your dreams. If something in this episode resonated with you, I would so appreciate it if you would text it to a girlfriend so she can hear the message as well. Until next time, stay wild.